Hello and welcome to Forever Motorsports. I am Mark Pettit and this is Reece Stedman, and we have just finished the Singapore Grand Prix for 2022, and probably one of the more interesting Grand Prix of the entire season. Just to go and give you the breaking news out of all of it, Sergio Perez wins Singapore 2022 with the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc behind him, followed by Carlos Sainz to make up the podium. So two Ferraris and a Red Bull, which is what I did predict would happen for this race today. But I'll tell you, a very, very interesting race. And as we also predicted, a very, very disrupted race from like safety cars and incidents. So we had 6 drivers crash out today. So it's a lot of drivers to crash out. And it obviously caused a lot of issues for different things happening with the drivers. With results and causing lots of lockups and decisions and rain, etc. A very eventful F1 race today.
Yes, certainly was a very thrilling race here today, with interchanging conditions throughout. Obviously starting on intermediates and then changing onto slick tyres at around the 30 lap mark, around exactly halfway through the race here today. Definitely not the greatest race result from Lewis Hamilton, who qualified in 3rd, but unfortunately did have a bit of a lockup and an incident destroying his front wing and having to pit to get that changed, dropping him down all the way into, I think it was 8th position at the end.
Indeed, and he did that, and Max Verstappen was, after having a terrible start, so he started off in 8th anyway, so after a bad qualifying yesterday, and then had a bad start where he slipped into anti-stall. Dropped all the way down to 12th/13th place. Managed to make it up over time, but then after he just managed to make it up, also had an incident where he ran off into the runoff area and lost all those places again.
Yes, shortly after changing onto his slick tyres, just, I think, misjudging that braking point and completely locking it up and going all the way down to the back of the field.
And not only that, he also seemed to have taken a little bit of debris whilst in so doing. So he went straight back into the pits and losing so much time. So Hamilton and Verstappen both were right near the top in 4th and 5th and those sort of positions, 4th, 5th and 6th. And both of them dropping down and having to make those places up again. So Max Verstappen did only finish in 7th after a while. There was a big battle with him, Vettel, and Hamilton towards the end of the race, and Hamilton was trying to take Vettel whilst Verstappen trying to take Hamilton, and Hamilton stuffed up completely in between, where he locked up whilst trying to overtake Vettel and went straight through so Max Verstappen could overtake him, and then Max Verstappen took Vettel in the last lap to gain 1 place for his day from the grid start. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Speaking about our race winner now, Sergio Perez definitely had a dominating session here today. He had a brilliant start, being able to overtake Charles Leclerc within the first corner, which I was certainly not expecting. I was expecting the Ferraris to be very strong here today. But Sergio Perez, in the end, putting about a 6-second lead at the end of the race on Charles Leclerc in 2nd.
Indeed. And Charles Leclerc probably a little bit disappointed with the fact that he didn't manage to hold on to first for literally not even 100 meters. Sergio Perez taking him very early on there. But what Charles Leclerc was trying to do was just trying to overtake him for this large period of time when they went onto the slick tires. So there was a safety car, and all the racers decided, right, it's now time to move on to the slick tire. And some of them opting for soft, some of them opting for mediums. Most of them opting for the medium tire, and when he went back out, Charles Leclerc's car was moving quicker than Sergio Perez, but in trying to take Perez's defense being what it is, Charles Leclerc could not get past him and just burnt his tires out way too early. So towards the end of the race, you just saw Charles Leclerc slipping behind, and there was a potential for Sergio Perez to get a possible penalty at the end of the race because he had an infringement with the safety car where he felt the safety car was going too slowly on the stop and on the start-finish straight, and he did go alongside the safety car very temporarily, and the FIA were investigating and said they would investigate it after the race. So the Ferrari engineers wanted Leclerc to put foot a little bit to try and get as close to within 5 seconds of Perez. Unfortunately, that didn't even happen, nor did Perez get a penalty at all. So Perez very, very comfortably at the top of the grid.
Yes, definitely a very, very interesting race here today. Was nail-biting all the way to the end, with Max Verstappen only overtaking Sebastian Vettel for 7th position right in the last lap. So was definitely very, very great to watch here today.
Indeed. And the teams who will be absolutely chuffed after today's result are McLaren. I think also my drive of the day in terms of just making up places is Daniel Ricciardo, who started in the lower half of the grid and managed to finish in 5th in his McLaren behind his teammate Norris in 4th. So a brilliant result for McLaren, their best of the season, and they are going to be ecstatic tonight, probably the happiest team out of everybody. And then Aston Martin were going really well during the race, and then only Vettel managed to lose places to Max Verstappen in the last couple of laps there. But Lance Stroll in 6th, Vettel in 7th, Verstappen in 7th, and in 8th Vettel, followed by Hamilton in 9th. So a great day for McLaren, and even Aston Martin will be quite chuffed. They're a little bit upset that Vettel couldn't hold on to his place there, but that was always going to happen.
Also, yes, one of their top results of the season.
And just to let you know of the rest of the grid of the people who started, it was then Pierre Gasly rounding off the points in 10th, Valtteri Bottas in 11th, Kevin Magnussen in 12th, Mick Schumacher in 13th, and George Russell in 14th. The drivers that crashed out. So first we had the incident with Latifi and Zhou.
Yes, where Latifi just got a bit dirty with his defensive moves and completely pushed Guan Yu Zhou into the wall. He will not be very happy about that, and I think we may be seeing some penalty points coming Latifi's way as well as some reprimands for the next race.
Indeed. So Guan Yu Zhou and Latifi collided. That caused the first safety car of the day. Was it? Yeah, it was a safety.
Yes, it was a safety car, I think. Or at least
a
virtual safety car.
It was a virtual safety car. I was just trying to remember now. It was a virtual safety car first, followed then by Fernando Alonso, who was going really well at the top after having a great qualifying position in 5th. He had an engine failure whilst battling with Verstappen to try and keep him behind him, and that engine failure caused a safety car to happen, unfortunately, for Fernando Alonso in his 350th race. So very disappointing for him. After that, we had Alex Albon.
Alex Albon just going into the wall there, damaging his front tyre, unfortunately taking him out of the race.
Yes, went back to the pits and they decided to retire the car then and there. Same sort of thing happened for Esteban Ocon. He had a small issue as well. He
had a massive engine failure, the same as Fernando Alonso, a bit more dramatic, with a massive plume of smoke coming out of that engine. The Alpines will have to do a lot of investigating after this race weekend as to what caused that double DNF for their team.
So both Alpines having engine problems rather than anything else, and that caused another virtual safety car. And then Yuki Tsunoda, a big impact where he was brand new on the slicks and clearly just misjudged how the slick tires were being used and broke very late, taking the wrong line and just locked up so badly and went plummeting straight into the wall, just destroying smashing the front half of his car, and that caused the second safety car of the day.
Yes, well, overall it was a great session to watch. Definitely should not have been missed.
No, not at all. And so a great day in terms of Sergio Perez getting a second win for Red Bull. So he will be a very, very happy Mexican. Charles Leclerc in second will probably be a little disappointed that he couldn't hold on to his pole position.
Yes, and then someone who didn't really feature all that much during the race was Carlos Sainz. He defended quite a lot from Lewis Hamilton in about the first 30 to 40 laps, but then we did not see very much of him throughout the rest of the session, being able to catch up with his teammate of Charles Leclerc.
And it was very surprising because he was quite a bit slower than the front runners today. So he managed to stay ahead of Hamilton the whole time, and as a result, Hamilton pushed his car too far and took himself basically out of the running for any sort of decent points. But yeah, a very quiet race for Carlos Sainz, but still in third, so
good
great
points
result
for Ferrari.
Yeah, as I say, so McLaren happiest probably after today. But a very, very interesting race from Singapore. Obviously, as we predicted, more safety cars, more of these issues. Singapore being the sort of track so easy to crash out on, so easy to retire cars on, and it does result in grids that are a little bit different to most. So we saw the McLarens do fantastically. We saw the Aston Martins doing very well for a long period there. Max Verstappen only in 7th place. So it all leads to the next race, which is in Japan.
Yes, Honda's home race, where Max Verstappen and Red Bull will be hoping to take the championship in Honda's home territory.
Indeed. So Max Verstappen, not the result he wanted today. but still won't think on it too long. I don't think, as he knows he can win the Drivers' Championship in this next weekend if he should get certain results going his way. I think again as well, even if he wins it, I don't think it'll result necessarily in him winning the Drivers' Championship straight away because of the performance today. But we will see. But certainly he shouldn't let this hang around his mind for too long. So disappointing day for Max Verstappen, disappointing day especially for Hamilton, but a great day for Sergio Perez and McLaren. So
Certainly a great day for us spectators who were definitely treated with a brilliant Singapore Grand Prix as per usual.
yeah, so yes, do feel free to like, subscribe, and do go look in this description of the video. You can see how you can watch Formula One live with us next time. Have a look at the channel. Do stay with us to have a subscribe. And this has been Reese Stedman over here alongside me, and I am Mark Pettit. This is Forever Motorsports. We've really enjoyed having you here. Yeah, that was the Singapore race. We'll take care, and we'll see you in Japan. Well, not necessarily in Japan, but we'll be covering Japan there. So take care till then.